Hey, what's up, peoples? Welcome to another morning power talk. This morning, I want to keep it very simple. I want to talk about something that's I think it's overlooked. Quite frankly, I don't think a lot of people know about this, right? This is something that's really interesting. I did research on it. And I guess this morning, I want to talk about a warning. Is to be careful not to psych yourself out. Be careful not to psych yourself out. Be careful not to trick your brain to think that you're doing things that you're not. So I was doing research and it says that there is a way, like they say that whenever you have an idea and you tell people about it and you begin to make it public, there's these chemical reactions that happens in your mind where you kind of psych your mind out as to think that it did something. For example, let's say I have an idea. Let's say there's something I want to launch. There's something I want to put out, right? The research indicates that when you go out and publicly say or publicly tell somebody that, hey, I have an idea. Let's say I have an idea for a new app. I'm using that as an example. Let's say I got the dopest idea for an app, the coolest idea for an app ever, right? This thing's never been done before. It's kind of proven that it's going to work, right? For the sake of the argument. They say that when you go out and call a few friends, let's say you call 5 friends and say, hey, I got this really dope idea for an app, and you start to tell them this is what it is, this is what it's going to do within the marketplace, this is how it's going to help people, and all these other cool things, and this is how it's going to change your life, you're going to charge this amount for it, and all these other cool things. Research indicates that when you begin to do that, because you're talking about it, in your mind, it's almost as if you did it. In other words, they were trying to do research to find out why is it that people have such great ideas, but for some reason the ideas never launch. But for some reason the ideas never make it to the marketplace. So these scientists started doing research on it because they wanted to know, like, what differentiates the ones that have the dreams and execute and the ones that have the dreams and it just kind of stays in their heads. So they took in a few subjects. I think they took about 100 subjects, and they took 100 people who had just amazing goals, amazing dreams, amazing ideas that were ready for implementation, and they followed them throughout a year. So half of the group was told to go out and call 5 people and tell the 5 people about their ideas and their dreams, right? And their goals and these cool things they had in mind. The other half of the group had to go back, write down the idea, keep it in a safe place, and move on it. Both groups were told to move on it. Both groups were told that, hey, you've got to come up with the idea, but at the same time, you've got to implement it. For a whole year, they followed them. And what they found is that the group that went back and told 5 friends, and like I'm talking about in great detail exactly what the idea was, in great detail what the app was, or whatever the situation, the goal, the idea, the dream was, they all came back void. So the group that went back and just blabbed their mouth and was just all talk, the group that was all talk came back void. Not one of them implemented their idea. Not one of them successfully came out with an idea. They just stayed in the ideation phase. And in the other half, the other group that went out there and it was told to, don't tell anybody about it. Just plan, write down a business plan, keep it in a safe place. Don't share it with everybody. For some reason, this group came back and everybody was good. Everybody launched. Everybody was in full implementation mode. Everybody was fully launched into what they wanted to do. And there's something very important that I think we should pick up here. Because there are chemicals in your mind. There are chemicals in this mind of yours that are secreted when you have an idea and you tell somebody. The same type of, in other words, the same amount of energy and effort that it takes to go out and tell people about these cool things you're doing is almost as equal as you going out there and implementing it yourself. And I found that really interesting because, like, a lot of people get caught in this. A lot of people get caught up in just telling people that you've got a cool idea. Just telling people that, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I think there's a time for that, though. I think there's a time where you can go out there and tell people things. You can go out there and just like, as you're in the ideation phase, you can go and tell a few friends. You can go and put it out on social media. Social media is probably one of the craziest places because a lot of people get caught up in the announcement phase. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But they never actually launch anything. They never actually put out something. They never actually successfully launch a project or implement an idea. So this research really messed me up because I could just think of so many times myself when I said I was going to do something. I had a great idea for something to put out, whatever it was. It could have been a book. It could have been a project that I wanted to do in the community. It could have been a business idea that I thought was going to be the dopest thing. I can't tell you how many app ideas that I've had that never made the marketplace. They never saw the daylight. And I asked myself, why was that? What happened? Because at the moment, I was so sure of myself. I was so sure that this thing right here, this thing was going to work hands down no matter what. But what I realized is, yeah, like the research was totally valid. That there is a danger in coming up with ideas. There is a danger with having these great goals and these great dreams and just making announcements about it. So for the remainder of this year, I just want to give you just quick advice. Like I said, it's a quick video. For the remainder of this year, no more announcements. We're just launching. We're just launching from now on. Absolutely no more announcements. Now, am I saying that after the ideation phase, after everything is in line, after you've got the product is done, you've got the finished, what do they call it? The lowest valuable product or phase. This morning, my words escape. Right? The minimal viable product, however you say it. It's too early for all this. But anyway, I'm not saying that after a certain amount of time, after you've gotten everything ready to launch, you make announcements. Yes, only make announcements when the product is done, when the book is done, or when you're ready to market. You know, there's certain strategies you can implement as you're creating. But no more announcements without putting in the work. No more announcements without having it done. No more announcement without building a team first. No more announcement without at least half of the book complete. No more announcements until you have a wireframe of the app. For those of you who make apps, I'm sticking on apps this morning for some strange reason. Let's get past announcements. Don't get caught up in this social media crap where everybody's making announcements about something. Everybody's about to launch something, but nobody launches anything. Because you can psych your brain out. The human mind is such a unique and amazing instrument that you can actually trick your mind into thinking that it did something when it really did not. So be very careful with your ideas and your goals. Be very careful with the things that you are planning, the things that you are working on, because I'm telling you, you'll find yourself in a situation where you have a great idea, you have an escape plan. Maybe you're trying to leave your 9-to-5. Maybe you're trying to get your family in a position that they've never seen before. Maybe you're trying to change things up for yourself. I don't know what it is. Maybe you're trying to save your community and help them out. We all have great ideas, but be very careful into thinking that you can go out there and just speak and spew this stuff and just put it out there to the world, to the universe, and think that you're actually going to be able to implement it after that, because the energy it takes, the scientists say, the energy it takes to run your mouth is almost as equal as it is to put in the work. So guys, be mindful. Once again, I'm not saying not to launch and have an announcement phase. But when you come up with an idea, write it down. Come up with the steps. I'm talking about from A to Z. Come up with all the steps needed to get this implemented, to get this launched. And then from there, like I said, the year's almost over. There's not much time, and so many things can be done. I don't do yearly plans anymore, by the way, okay? Mine's is on a month-to-month type of strategy. Month-to-month type of planning. No more year things. I used to do the whole year thing and wasted so much time. Now I can get I don't do New Year's resolutions. We'll talk about that later. But when I used to do New Year's resolutions, like I would literally have 5 things on it for the whole year. Now I can do 5 things in a matter of 2 to 3 months. So you don't have a lot of time, but you have a whole lot of time though to do a lot of damage. So get out of the ideation phase. Get out of making announcements on social media. It's cool, it's dope. It feels great after that. Once you get those likes and you go to, or those views in your stories, it feels fantastic. Like, man, people really feeling this thing, but you haven't launched anything. You haven't even created anything. Don't get caught up in that. Be very careful. There's no more games, okay? For most of you, you've been trying to do something for a long time. No more games. It's time to really put into work. Get into ideation. Write down the plan and launch. Execute. See you later.